Hello, come and join us on the Love Couch, where you get to learn how to have a fantastic relationship through watching reality TV.
But first, we are super excited about today's episode. We are going to start talking about Harry and Meghan. There's been so much hoopla and so much excitement. And we just love this show. We love their love story. We love how they've portrayed and filmed this program. It's
It looks
gorgeous.
really delicious.
Really
Yeah.
gorgeous. And then early on in the very first episode, we noticed something that they did that we really resonated with, that we really thought was part of the genius and magic of their relationship, and we want to talk about that today.
There's questions that come up in any relationship, and especially when there's disconnect or discomfort or conflict. One of those questions is what do I need to do?
Mm,
What do I need? What do I want?
mm.
The other question might be, what does my partner need? What does my partner want? And there's a third question, which I'll get to in a moment. I know for myself with the first question, what do I want? What do I need? That's definitely a legitimate question, definitely a question that you should be asking yourself from time to time and coming up with answers and exploring that. But where there's conflict, where there's uncertainty, it, for me personally, it can lead me to either selfish choices. Yeah, I think that's probably the most
Never.
likely one. Like, what do I need to do to feel safe, to feel secure? What do I need?
Can I say something
Yeah,
about that? And that can feel like a closing down and like a protecting yourself. It can feel like a
yeah,
sheltering. Does that
yeah,
resonate? Yeah.
yeah, and the result of that can be unrelational. You're creating
Ah,
more distance between yourself
in the
and your partner in
relationship.
the
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
Not necessarily, but it could be that. If I'm asking myself, what do you want? What do you need? So
Mm,
I'm not asking you directly,
mm,
actually, I'm just speculating.
mm.
I might start making choices for myself, knowing myself, where I step over what I need, and I'm looking for like an instant cure to end any discomfort. So I might be pushing my needs aside, some quite important things aside, in order just to kind of calm things down.
Could you give an example? What would be a good example of that?
You might say, like, well, I kind of need you to come over. And I'll be
Mm,
like, okay, I'll be right there. But like I'm being active, I'm kind of doing what you're asking me to do,
mm,
but I might have some it might I might not be in a good state of mind to come over.
mm,
I might come over really resentful, like hair trigger, ready to blow. And so I come over and I'm gonna be like walking on eggshells, or I'm gonna be
mhm.
like maybe kind of look spoiling for a fight
Or
or
distracted.
something, or distracted.
Mm,
Um, and what I really need to be doing is perhaps just spending some time on my own and kind of thinking, like thinking things through for myself before I'm able to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
reconnect with you. Does that
Yeah,
does
love
that
it.
make sense?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. The third question is, what does our relationship need? So just to ask that and listen. And what I found is that there can be a different answer to what do I need? What do I think my partner needs? What does the relationship need? And it can be unexpected. It's often something that kind of pulls me forward. Oh, maybe there's actually kind of something that I need to think about or say that's a bit uncomfortable.
Mm,
Um, Maybe I have to step outside my comfort zone in some other way
yeah,
in order to serve the relationship. Huh?
yeah.
Um, yeah, how's that
I love
landing
it.
with
I
you?
love it. And I really want to reflect. I don't know if anybody else noticed this. Please put in the comments if you did. Did you notice how much he slowed down when he actually paused to actually listen to his own question? What does the relationship need? And he paused. Things can get really fast when we're rushing or stepping over ourselves to try and have things get better,
Yeah,
get fixed, get more comfortable again as soon as possible. And that listening that you just demonstrated so beautifully is a really profound way actually of being grounded in the relationship and with each other and with yourself, so that you're not um The rushing, I think, is part of what has you step over yourself.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah. Yeah.
So what we noticed with Meghan and Harry was that really early on, this happened.
We knew up until then that we were really connected and really drawn to each other, but what were the practicalities of how this was actually gonna
I
work?
think they just invented it. They invented a way for it to work.
She had a 2-week rule, which is very small.
Meghan had an ask. She said, "We need to see each other every 2 weeks."
Yeah.
And she made it a foundation that no matter how much they liked the idea of their relationship, they needed to actually be in relationship with each other
Yeah.
in order for the relationship to grow.
Yeah. I mean, her especially, but they both had to do some reshaping of their lives in order to serve the relationship.
And so notice in your relationship, or maybe a past relationship if you're not in one right now, where were the times when you could see you had needs, or even the relationship had needs that you made an ask for, a bid for, a request for? And I'll bet if those requests and asks weren't met, either it's something you're struggling with in your relationship right now, or those past relationships are over. There are things that relationships need to survive. Relationships are their own entity,
Yeah.
they are their own breathing, functional being
Yeah.
that needs to have these foundations met. What does the relationship need? And it comes after, but or maybe in tandem or shortly after, but you still need to know your own needs first.
Yeah.
So I'll bet that Megan, she doesn't really address this in the show, a little bit, but I'll bet that she really had to rearrange her life. And I'll bet she was mostly happy to do so.
Yeah.
When you're really open to what the relationship needs and you feel served by the relationship, then you're happy to give into it because it always gives back. So just take some time after watching this video to just sort of survey your relationship, survey like what the relationship you would like to have, and ask yourself, well, what would the relationship need in order to be this
Mm.
beautiful, loving,
Yeah.
nourished, and delicious being, so that I get to have the relationship I want, and it gets to be this wonderful cycle. We've both noticed that there's a quality to a really beautiful relationship where both people feel like they're getting more than they're putting in.
Yeah.
When the
Yeah.
relationship is happy, you are literally greater than the sum of your parts.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, like the relationship, a good relationship and a bad relationship, any kind of relationship is more than the sum of its parts.
Mm.
And when a relationship is going well, the fruits are so abundant. They're so more than the one person or the two people. And we talk about this question, what does my relationship need? Being like a foundational principle, a foundational stone with Harry and Meghan, because we see how it's played out over time, especially with his decision or their decision for him to step away from the royal family, which is, we were talking earlier about the inconvenience for her, but the inconvenience for him, like just the emotional schism of that choice.
I choose beyond the word inconvenience.
Yeah.
I love that
Okay.
word schism. Like
Yeah.
he charted the path of his life by the relationship.
Yeah.
And there's a piece, I don't know, we haven't talked about this. I think that in order for the relationship to be as full and rich, that needs to be one of the guiding lights.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a serious relationship, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It doesn't have to be, but if it is, then there is some guiding of that
Yeah.
question. What does the relationship need? Will be
Yeah.
part of the direction your life will take.
Yeah. So they started a loud car. I don't know if you can hear it. Sometimes the answer to what does the relationship need, it could be the same as it could be the exact same answer as to what do I need. It could be the exact same answer to what you need, but it might be something different. It might be something unexpected, and to stay open to what that what that possibility is. For Harry and Meghan, it was we have to leave the royal family. We have to leave this tradition. We have to leave this incredible, like, tight structure. We have to leave the people that are, that are closest to us in order to have the peace, joy, intimacy that we want our lives to be.
The magic and the energy takeaway
Mhm.
is that when you start to get clear on some of these answers, let it not be an overnight, it has to happen today or tomorrow kind of thing. There's an unfolding when you see the path that things start to
Mhm.
take. Maybe there's a couple of pieces that need to happen first before the bigger step that wants to be called in. Let yourself be an allowance that the phases may not look like how you expected.
Mhm.
Um, there may be pieces that need a bit of time
Yeah.
to shift and grow, like plants or gardens or
Mhm.
tectonic plates or
Yeah.
jobs or children. These
Yeah.
things can take a
Yeah,
while.
these logistics, and Harry says, like, his exact wording, I'm not going to remember, but it's like, Meghan had this brilliant idea of, like, approximately 2 weeks. So, the 2 weeks is a guide, but they would know when they get to that 2 week mark, if they're not seeing each other soon, that then they're going to have to figure something out, because they'll start to feel like the wear and tear of the distance between them.
And so she called it in. And then I think his words were like, how on earth is that going to even
Yeah.
happen? But because she'd called it in and he was willing
Mhm.
in service to the relationship
In
and
service
knowing
to the
himself,
relationship.
they were able to create it. So
Yeah.
that's my energy takeaway.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, in what can I do that's in service of the relationship, and that in conjunction with what you said earlier of also being really clear on what your needs are, and both people being really clear on what their needs are,
Yeah.
and those three components being able to kind of sort of fit together really well, create something really beautiful and strong.
Yeah. And let it
together.
take the time that it needs. It's not going to
Yeah.
be right away.
Yeah.
It's part of the adventure. Bit of a deep thoughts on this
Deep thoughts.
on this love couch. Love to hear if there's any takeaways for you in the comments. We would be so grateful for you to like and subscribe to our channel.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.